A lot has happened over the course of history. It would honestly be next to impossible to know about every group of people that's ever lived. So many groups, so much culture, and so much time to cover. Luckily, I'm here to tell you about just a handful of ancient groups that you might not have known about. So without further ado, let's get to counting down the top 10 ancient tribes you never knew existed. At number 10, the Silla. Even though the Silla kingdom was one of the longest standing royal dynasties ever, not many people know about it because very few traces of their existence have been left behind. The Silla ruled most of the Korean peninsula between 57 BCE and 935 CE, but again, not much is known about them. Very few burial sites have been found, and the majority of what's been recovered by researchers are various treasures such as ornate jewelry and weapons. One set of remains that was discovered by archaeologists did, however, give scientists a bit of a glimpse into the life of the Silla. The remains of a woman estimated to be in her early 30s was found, and from what scientists discovered, they know that she was likely a vegetarian and that she had an elongated skull, which may suggest that the Silla could have practiced body modifications in their society, but nothing can be confirmed. The story of how the Silla came to be comes from legend. It was said that the Silla was founded by a man that was hatched from a mysterious egg in the forest and married a queen who was born from the ribs of a dragon. Knowing this legend, it's not surprising to find out that this society was very aristocratic. If your founder was hatched from an egg and married a queen, then there's gotta be some kind of hierarchy going on. At number 9, the Indus. The Indus is the largest known ancient urban culture, and they did some pretty impressive things too. Stretching from the Indus River in modern-day Pakistan to the Arabian Sea and the Ganges in India, this ancient metropolis thrived from 3300 BCE to 1600 BCE. The Indus were quite innovative for their time, having created sewage and drainage systems for their large city. They also built huge walls and granaries, and they invested their time in art by creating pottery and glazed beads, and they even had dental care. Scientists actually found the remains of a number of people who showed signs of having received dental work on their molars between 7,500 and 9,000 years ago. Things seem to have been going pretty well for these people, but eventually they had to leave their dwellings behind, and it is theorized that this happened because climate change started to affect the monsoonal rains in the area, and this in turn dried up most of their land, and obviously that isn't good for agriculture, and so they fled and went elsewhere. Before we continue learning about more ancient people, I would like to first take a moment to ask you guys to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and maybe even subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We would love to have you as part of the Bumblebee family, so smash that subscribe button and join the hive. At number 8, the Sanxingdui. This Bronze Age culture is believed to have lived in what is now China's Sichuan province. First evidence of this group of people was first discovered in the late 1920s, but despite efforts of archaeologists and researchers, not much is known about this ancient tribe. What we do know about them is that the Sanxingdui were a very artistic group. Based on some of the artwork found by researchers, this group of ancient people were prolific makers of bronze and gold foil masks. Some scientists believe that these masks may have represented certain gods in their culture or even ancestors. No one really knows what happened to this group of people though. There is evidence that the Sanxingdui abandoned their homes 2,800 to 3,000 years ago and may have moved to a neighboring province, but more research is needed to prove this. As for why they may have relocated, some researchers believe that perhaps there was an earthquake or even a landslide that caused people to flee. At number 7, the Nok. The Nok tribe from what is now northern Nigeria lasted from 1000 BCE to 300 BCE and was a very mysterious culture that was actually discovered by complete accident. Tin miners happened to find ancient artifacts, including a terracotta head, during a mining operation in 1943. This discovery began a larger excavation expedition in the area, and they have since found plenty of other terracotta artifacts and sculptures, including depictions of people wearing jewelry and carrying weapons like batons and flails. Some of their sculptures also depicted people with diseases like elephantitis. Nok artifacts have a history of being stolen or removed from archaeological sites without notice, which has some researchers wondering what, other than their historical significance, makes them so prone to thefts. There is for sure a mystery there. At number 6, the Etruscans. In northern Italy between 700 BCE and 500 BCE, there lived an ancient society of people called the Etruscans. This group of people were a thriving theocratic society, that is, before they were eventually absorbed into the Roman Republic. The Etruscans had their own written language and left behind a number of luxurious family tombs as well. As I mentioned, this society was theocratic, as the artifacts they left behind suggest that religion and rituals were a big part of their daily lives. Among some of the artifacts that have been discovered by researchers include the earliest earliest depictions of childbirth in Western art, and even a number of sandstone slabs that had been engraved with ancient Etruscan text. The archaeological sites where researchers continue to uncover the secrets of this ancient populace have revealed over 25,000 artifacts, and scientists continue to uncover more each day. At number 5, the Land of Punt. One of the most mysterious ancient tribes that you might not have known about are the people of the Land of Punt. Many of the ancient cultures that we know about today we've learned through ancient texts, and this is basically the case with the Land of Punt. We only know about them through Egyptian records. What we do know about the ancient Land of Punt is that it was a kingdom somewhere in Africa that regularly made trades with ancient Egyptians. The Land of Punt and the ancient Egyptians were trading goods from at least the 26th century BCE during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, who was also known as the builder of the Great Pyramids of Giza. Now, even though we know that the Land of Punt traded with ancient Egyptians, we don't know exactly where these people were located. The Egyptians kept record of the goods that were being traded with the Land of Punt, like gold, ebony, and myrrh, but they didn't exactly keep record of where these goods were being sent, which has researchers frustrated because they can only hypothesize where these goods may have been sent. Some researchers believe that perhaps the Land of Punt was located somewhere in Arabia, or perhaps on the Horn of Africa, or maybe somewhere down the Nile River that is now southern Sudan and Ethiopia. I honestly hope that one day the location of the Land of Punt is found, because there could be so many amazing finds waiting to be discovered. At number 4, the Bell Beakers. Here's yet another mysterious ancient tribe that you might not have known about. The Bell Beakers are such a mystery that researchers base their name on the only artifacts that have ever been found from these ancient people. The Bell Beakers are known for their pottery that looks like upside down bells, hence the name. These ancient people are believed to have lived across Europe between 2800 BCE and 1800 BCE. Other than their distinctive bell beakers, this ancient tribe also left behind copper artifacts as well as burial sites. An ancient bell beaker cemetery containing 154 graves was found in what is now modern-day Czech Republic. Some researchers believe that the bell beakers may have also been responsible for the construction of part of Stonehenge. There are still many unanswered questions about the bell beakers, but until scientists find more evidence, this is all the information that we have on them for now. At number 3, the Danubians. The Danubians were an ancient civilization who thrived near the Balkan foothills and the lower Danube Valley between 5500 BCE and 3500 BCE. Over the course of 1500 years, the Danubians became one of the most advanced societies at this time. They were best known for their work with terracotta, more specifically their creation of goddess figurines. Though they are impressive pieces, the purpose of these figurines remains unknown to researchers, but many speculate that they were used to celebrate the strength of women in their culture. The Danubians were also known to cast gold into graves, and they seem to have taken this very seriously, since one of the cemeteries they found had a collection of around 3,000 pieces of gold. Though they were very impressive for their time, they later just seem to have vanished or died off. But researchers have yet to piece together exactly what happened to these ancient people. At number 2, the Jiahu. Before the rise of China's great dynasties, smaller tribes covered the area, each with their own unique cultures. One of the oldest of these ancient tribes were the Jiahu, and they were located in what is now modern-day Hainan province in eastern China. The Jiahu were China's first identifiable civilizations, and they thrived between 7000 BCE and 5700 BCE. The artifacts that researchers were able to recover from this 9,000-year-old civilization contain things like the world's earliest wine, the oldest working musical instruments, such as flutes made from the bones of birds, some of the oldest preserved rice, as well as the earliest samples of Chinese writing. As for what happened to the Jiahu people, researchers believe that they migrated elsewhere due to flooding from the nearby rivers. And finally, at number 1, Ain Ghazal. Located in what is now modern-day Jordan, Ain Ghazal was a Neolithic society that boomed during the transition between hunter-gatherer tribes and established civilizations. This ancient society started off with roughly 3,000 people as they came together to create their unique culture, and they also began to develop impressive artwork that decorated their metropolis. Things like plaster figurines of pregnant women and other stylized human figures were found to have adorned their cities. Archaeologists found evidence of this society's transition to farming and agriculture, noting their heavy use of goat herds and vegetable storage. Though the Ain Ghazal society was booming and growing, researchers have noticed groups of people packed up in a hurry and deserted their settlement, with over 90% of the population migrating elsewhere. No one quite knows what prompted so many people to leave the area, but it's most likely that they migrated to other established societies, leaving behind their transitional city for something more modern for their time. Now, before I wrap things up for you guys today, I want you guys to tell me down below in the comments, which of these ancient tribes I talked about today have you never heard of until now? Was it just a few of them? Maybe all of them? Let me know down below. Anyways, that's it for me. I've been your host, Brew Room, and until next time, stay safe, make good choices, and stay sweet, bumblebees.